In this video, we're going to learn how to make the Adventure Garden Wall Hanger. This is a wonderful world you can imagine yourself dropping into, and so we're going to walk through the pieces and parts of the project, give you time to prepare them and do all the decorating you want to do, and then we'll walk through the installation. Make sure as you get started that you have both the bag with the wall hanger in it, along with the two circular pieces that were on the bottom of your box. All right, let's take a look at your garden wall hanging and what you need to do to assemble it. I have to confess, when I started on this project, it was supposed to be the simplest one in the box. But I just couldn't resist. I've been dying to do a project that was layers and layers of wood put together, so this seemed like the perfect time to do that. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun as we put this together and as you get a chance to see kind of how all of these layers work together. And I'm going to start with a couple of prep things you're going to need to do. So we're going to start by grabbing, this is going to be our back. That's 3 clouds and the sun and our back layer of mountains. Now your ring had lots of little holes in it. If any of them didn't poke through, you can just use a screwdriver or a little pin back or something else to get these last few little holes out. Lots of teeny tiny little dots in this. And the person who did the original drawing didn't make them all round solid circles. So when I converted them into... There we go, that's much better. And this is going to get mounted to the top, something like this, our top layer. So this is going to be our very top layer, and this is our very back layer. So let's open the parts, and I'm going to lay this out and show you how it goes together. And then I trust you will spend hours and hours decorating it. In your bag... are some command strips. We're going to use those for mounting. You can just stick them to the back in pairs and mount it wherever you want to. You should have lots of room to do that. And then you have this one little bag of tiny, tiny things, which I'm going to open up and pull out as well while we look at all of the pieces and parts. Be gentle with this bag. These 2 little pieces are the inserts from other leaves, and if they didn't make it, I apologize. I didn't use them actually in the sample I put together for you. They're kind of fun if you want to use them, if you want something to go on top. So those are the bonus pieces. The other bonus piece in your bag is I actually got 2 mushrooms in it, because I cut an extra set. So... you can use 1 mushroom, you can use 2 mushrooms, you can decide what you want to do with your mushrooms. I'll show you how that goes together in a minute. We also have 1 big leaf, a second leaf that's cut out like so. That's where the 2 little pieces came from. And then we have these 2 little cute little ferns as well. Now the other thing you'll see in your small bags is 1 little piece here. This will go on top of your tree. That's your little tree covering, your front branches. And then you should have 6, count them, 6 little cloud pieces. So we're going to start with how the cloud pieces go on here. And what you'll notice is if I put those 2 next to each other, the shapes are the same. So this guy is going to go up a little here. So you've got a little bit of cloud behind him. And then you can put them where you want, but I designed it, and the original picture was for this to go down there. So you've got space above it and space below it as you on the bottom. And then we're going to do the same thing with these other pairs. So those 2 look pretty similar. So this one is going to go here up a little bit. And this one is going to go here down at the bottom part of that top layer like so. And we will do the same thing on this third cloud. Like so. See, the decorating options have already begun. So now we're going to talk about these 4 layers that were all stacked together in your bag. And you can get a hint for how they might want to go together just by looking at this stack. So I'm going to start by putting this layer of mountains right here at the back. You can angle it however you want. In my sample, it just touches like so. And we've made them such that the rings want to stay out here. We're actually building a support structure for it as we glue it together. So I'm going to make this stay all the way out here to the edge. It'll all get covered up. Then the next layer is our distant mountains. And so I'm going to put those 2 pieces, and I'm actually going to make those 2 points meet like so. So that's got a little bit of distant mountain behind it. And finally, we have our nearby mountains. And so my points on the end don't quite meet, but you'll see how this guy comes over that cloud a little bit. This guy goes over that cloud a little bit in the distance. We can see those. Now, if you look at the layers real closely here, you'll notice that my next layer on the front is the lake. So this is our lake piece, and you're going to get to decorate it however you want to, whatever colors you want to make your lake. And then we have the tree, and we need to put the tree pieces, the big tree pieces, in first. And you're going to get a little bit of choice about this. And as you play with it, you'll decide what you want to do. I generally don't want it to go right here where it's not quite hitting that cloud, maybe a little bit back. So it's not in the way of the clouds. If I put these clouds in the right place. So that's why we're going to glue the clouds on first. So I can put that in. Then we're going to put a layer above that. You'll notice these 2 pieces are a little smaller than this piece. So this guy is going to go next. And we can decide where we want it to go. These 2 pieces are going to go above that like so. And finally, we get to put our tree in. And you'll get to decide what angle you want your tree to go in. It's generally designed to match this lake edge on this right-hand side. But again, you've got lots of flexibility in how you put it together. And the top layer is intended to be this really pretty layer with the birds. Once you've done that, you will add your top layer of leaves. And then we can start to put the rest of the layers together. So what I did was something like that. And I put this guy over here like so. And I put my mushroom down here in the middle. And then using these 2 guys, I did that one here. Flip that over here a little bit and do that one there like that. It's kind of fun that it's sticking out over the middle. And if you want to, now that if you have these extra 2 layers, you can even do things like put a 3rd layer over the very top to make another layer of fern above that. Or put another mushroom, or stack the mushrooms just a bit off from each other. You've got lots of choices in kind of how you put the whole thing together. And that is the layers. So I want you to stop the video here, go back and do all of your decorating, and then come back to the video when you're ready to assemble it. And I'll walk through gluing it together, or you can just watch the first half of the video over and over and over again to get the layers glued together the way you want to. Are your pieces all spread out here and ready to go? I hope so. I'm going to start with gluing the clouds together before I actually glue them down, just to make things a little easier. So I'm going to put some drops on this cloud. Since I want this to go up on top, it will be easier to glue it together if I can see the top layer. Kind of like so. One might want to be on the bottom, but that's going to be really fun. I'm going to glue these two together, and I know this one wants to go to the bottom like so. So we'll go ahead and put our dots of glue on the back of that. And we'll glue those two layers together. I will confess I did not do this artwork. We purchased some art online to give us something to start with, and then I managed to get what I really wanted to from a design perspective out of it. And I think we ended up with something that's really beautiful. Once again, Steamy Tech combines art and science. So I want these to go on the top of the cloud shape here. Give myself just a little bit of room underneath it. Don't need very much at all, and I definitely don't want to go too far. But getting those glued down means when I get to the tree and the rest of the pieces, I'll be in good shape. So we're going to scooch that up a little bit like so. And then we're going to put that at the top of that piece like so. I'm really excited to see the pictures of what you do with this, so please send them to me. All right, so those are first. Now the next layer gets my tree. And given where that is, I've got really good choice of angle here on my tree. I don't have too many choices. I don't want it to touch the clouds though. So I'm going to take the back tree layer and stick it down right here. That's one of my two layers. The other layer that goes on the back is the back mountains. And again, I have a little bit of flexibility, but I want to see those a little bit. So we'll take my back mountain layer, and I'm going to make it just touch that cloud right there to give me the directionality I want for that piece. Make sure my outer layers are nice and even. When you're done, you can decorate, do whatever you want to the outer layers, since they're going to be nice and smooth as well. If you haven't already done that, make sure they're all glued together and they're not going to slide on you. That would be the saddest part. So now, where do I want to put this? I'm thinking this tree goes about here. So we'll go ahead and put our next layer of tree in. Like so. Again, make sure your edges stay smooth and make sure you don't have the problem I just did of the wood slipping on you. That would be very sad if you worked hours on the decorating. This is the trickiest part. And now we're ready for our next layer of mountains. This is the one with the two little mountains on it. So I'll put the glue on it. And these two actually touch. So if you can just make those 2 points touch, you'll be lined up perfectly. But if you want to rotate things, of course, as long as the outside curve stays even, you can rotate as much as you want to. If you haven't learned anything yet about Lady Steam, it's that I like things straight, mostly. Okay, I'm going to put on my next layer of tree here. Like so. And then we'll put our next layer of mountains on while we're at it. These don't quite match the points, they're just a little bit below it. I wanted to bring the frames all the way out to the outside edge, but I still wanted to give you a little bit of layering experience on the outside as well. So these don't quite hit there. Give that a second to dry and take this other tree. Now I designed them so you could make the two tree leaves be the same. If you want a little bit of difference there, you could pull it back in. It's really a question of how are you going to set your tree in? And how does the top ring go on top of that tree? I mean, I don't have my lake in here yet, but you can see you've got lots of choices in that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this back just a hair like so. Give myself a little bit of variation in that tree line. Come on. And sometimes the glue doesn't want to stick. And it takes more. Now, if you've already got Instaset, one of the tricks we've discovered on Instaset is you can spray it on a layer of glue and then stick a piece down if you can do it quickly enough. But you got to be really careful if you're doing that. All right. And now I'm ready for the front of my lake. And again, I'm going to make that evenly spaced there. The edge of my lake to go on, and we'll be ready to add our tree. Since the very, very early days of what I saw people doing with laser cutting, this is one of the things I thought was the most interesting. I'm so glad to have the chance to do a project with layers of wood, layers and layers and layers of wood. Now you've got a gap here. So in terms of gluing, you probably want to glue up to about here and then give yourself a gap. So I'm just going to stick my finger right here. It'll just dry anyway, but if you don't want it to goop over things and to be visible from the back, make sure that you give yourself a little room there. And I'm just going to set this in like so. Make sure it's nice and flat on both sides. The easiest way to do these layers is to bring your fingers around the outside edge. Now, if it goops glue out the side, you can use a paper towel and wipe the outside edge of the glue off. That works really nicely. And now I'm ready to set my top layer on. And so what I'm going to do is, I can see about how wide it is because I've got this lovely shape down here. So I'm just going to put it on the outside edge of this. That means I'm not going to accidentally go too far around on the piece itself. And I'm going to make this relatively straight. Let my happy birdies fly. Make sure I'm aligned against the top edges in my support and against the bottom edges in my support. And I just have a few things left to do. All that's left to do now is a little bit of decorating. So we'll start with putting on our little tree covering. I think I'm going to leave a little bit of that showing on this time so I can see more of that branch out at the top. Oh. If I can, of course, get my glue to stick today. So there's my branches. And we'll start with this piece. I want it to stick up just a little bit here. So I'm going to be really careful with how much glue I put on because I don't want to necessarily see it. And we're going to put that down here. Kind of underneath, it's the underneath layer. I'm going to put my mushroom on next. Ah, gluey fingers. No, gluey fingers. We'll stick our mushroom down here. And I want to take this one and I'm going to stick it here. So that means I can put a little bit of glue on it here. And I can put a little bit of glue on it up here, and it'll go around the outside edge like so. And I want these two to go like this. So we'll put some glue on the bottom half of this one, like so. And this one is going to stick out even a little further, but I can go through most of that one. So we'll put a little glue on the top of that one. And I'm going to stop right here. You can add the extra pieces if you want to. You can rearrange it or do whatever you want to with it. And that is your garden wall hanging. Now, like I said, we put command strips in the box so you can tear them into pairs, stick them to each other. And there's lots of instructions online for how to use command strips if you never have. The best thing about them is that they're removable. So my recommendation would be just to put them on the back, stick them to the back, then peel them and stick them wherever you want to stick them on the wall. And you will have a beautiful wall hanging to remind you that you need to go find nature. Thanks so much.